Miatta?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, and it's actually brilliant that we're talking about climate change. And, we've got protesters in the streets of London. And I think the point that they're trying to make is, the threat of climate change is real. So the experts are telling us that we have little over a decade to take really radical, drastic action in order for us to just mitigate the worst, not even stop it, just mitigate the worst impacts of climate change. It is a bigger threat than Brexit. It blows everything else out the water. It is going to have a fundamental effect on our lives and on the economy. And it doesn't feel like there's the urgency in the political system in order for us to kind of respond in the way that we need to. So the thing that, my organisation, the New Economics Foundation, has been arguing for is a Green New Deal. And it's the idea that says, look, we've got to decarbonise at pace, which will require a huge programme of government investment. So the government needs to step up in order to catalyse the change, but to try to decarbonise in a way that will create jobs, that will lift living standards, that will start to try and shape the economy so that it works for people. And we need a scale of ambition. We need the government to think out the box. We need new regulations, new incentives.
Well, you're coming up with a lot of sort of motherhood and apple pie things there, but what do you actually want them to do? What policies do you want them to implement?
So, as a start, the Committee of Climate Change, which is the government's climate change watchdog, has come up with a list of green projects. So things like renewable energy, things like insulation projects, so that we're not
using... They're already doing that?
Well, no, not at the pace that they need to. And actually, the Committee on Climate Change has said, yes, the government's moved, but it's not moved nearly fast enough. And they are worried that we will struggle to hit even the, not that ambitious target of net zero by 2050. So there are already a suite of projects that we could actually just get away now, but it requires political will, and it requires the government to put in a level of investment that we've not seen before. The Committee for Climate Change says 1 to 2% of GDP. We actually think it probably needs to be much higher, about 3 to 4% of GDP. I mean, we've not done anything like that before. I think the second thing is the government has to say, this is our number one mission. Because, if you care about communities, you care about living standards, social justice, climate change is going to blow all of that out the water. And that requires the Treasury and other government departments to think about legislation, investment, regulation that starts to shift things and also kind of get the markets to respond.
Okay.